As a military leader and coach, I need to be a professional communicator, but I realized something embarrassing. I talked too much. I was really passionate, but not always clear. Enter the Brief Lab, a $2,000 course. Hey guys, I'm Dr. Liz Moyer, and today I'm going to be giving you a candid review of the Brief Lab course. This is a really cool blend of a company that works with both Fortune 500 companies and the military, specifically Special Operations Command. Now, hang on, if you don't have $2,000, I will show you some great resources. They're very inexpensive that will help you be a better communicator and also help you lead more effective meetings. All right, so if you want to look up this website, just go to thebrieflab.com. There's some free surveys for you to take. You can get an overview there about the courses that they offer, this intro, writing, and some meetings, along with some really great resources. Once again, I mentioned there's 2 books I'll show you and go over. There are some tools that you can download for free, and then also tools that you can purchase very, very inexpensively, about $20. A blog that's totally free as well too. And of course you can reach out to them depending on whether this is for you or maybe your team. On the website, there's a really cool little brochure, goes over the Brief Lab, and the issue is just we have a lot of information and it is sometimes hard to focus and to be clear, concise, consistent. And that's what they really want to help us with. It goes over their story, overall their mission, and then their method. And this is amazing because we as leaders have to have processes. You wouldn't allow someone to just build a house without a timeline. And so why do we allow people to communicate and have meetings without a process? In this, they have some proprietary information, the brief map, and a draft card along with some other elements. And they teach you how to do things like headlining, which is sort of that, hey, what's the big idea? The executive summary, which if you only had 30 seconds, sometimes we call that an elevator pitch. Trimming, right? And this is the concept of there are different levels of detail, and maybe we don't have to dig super deep really quickly, along with the elusive 600. So what's the elusive 600? Right now, I'm probably speaking at about 150 words per minute, and you can listen at 750, which means you're not really listening to me. Maybe you are, but you're also thinking about other stuff. And that's the elusive 600. It's just hard to capture attention. And attention is just this currency that we've got to really work to earn. I have definitely struggled with this. And so I want to show you the brief map because this is something that you can literally take today, implement tomorrow. Okay. So this is one of the free blogs that they go through, and it kind of just explains the narrative map. You have your sort of focal point, and then the challenges and opportunities that exist. You then have your body information and the conclusion and the payoff. And once again, this is a cool little concept that you can look at and explore. It takes 2 minutes, so I recommend it. Now let's hop over to the actual brief map. All right, so for $20, you can get a 100 pack of these brief maps. And you can see in this bottom right-hand corner, you have the outline for BRIEF. So in the middle is going to be the brief box, which is the main idea. And then you go through it, you have the background, relevance, information, ending, and follow-up. All right. Some people are not very, they don't like to write in boxes. So what I like about this too is that on one side is the box, on the other side allows you more room to write. And then it asks you some of these questions. So as an example, when it talks about the background, it then says, well, what's the current situation or issue or the problem you're going through, or how am I going to start? And you can answer each one of those questions that will help you. So as an example, I really like talking about the predictive index. It's an assessment that helps individuals really be better coached and learn how to interact in their workplace. So the big idea in the brief box, before I get to the background, is that the predictive index can really help improve the performance of a person. And so then I need to jump into the background, right? What is the current situation? How am I going to start? Is there a story or an anecdote? And I could say, hey, I had someone that I worked with that was really struggling until they took the PI. And I realized that because they were so detail oriented, I was doing a bad job of not giving them enough information. So that's a way to jump in and give a story and give a little bit of background. Then you can go over to the relevance. Why am I telling this? What does this mean to the audience? What do I want them to do with this information? Do I want them to share? Do I want them to agree? Do I want them to move forward? So if this is my boss, because I want them to use the predictive index in my organization, I say, well, the reason I'm telling you this is that like we can't always pick the people who we work with. And so we really, really need to optimize the individuals that are a part of my team. What if we had additional data that the data could help us to better coach that person or better give them the tools and the training and fill the gaps for them to be successful? So now I've jumped in and I've given that relevance. Well, now it's going to ask me for some information. What are the key pieces of information that I need to share? And this is when I talked about this concept of there's different levels. I could say that, hey, this assessment is 75 years old, or that 10% of Fortune 500 companies use it. That might be a little bit too detailed, but maybe my boss wants to know that information. And I can think through what is the big picture information versus what are the detailed information. So really it's talking about right here, it says facts, figures, and examples. So I think about that in terms of what are the facts? This is how expensive the course is, or the assessment is. This is the legal review on it. These are the things that I'm trying to answer so that potentially they can move forward. Now I go to the ending, and this is how do I want this to conclude? What does success look like? And I really like this concept of the minimum viable level of success. Maybe I want to expand this to the entire Department of Defense, but right now I want to just be in my organization. So I say, hey, I want us to be able to purchase this for 1 year as a test. And it says you need to know when to stop talking. So maybe I just stop there. And then the last point is the follow-up. And this is asking what questions do I anticipate at the end? What questions should I ask them to get them going from there? So really, really love this brief map. And the whole concept behind it is that I can take something that I used to it would take me half an hour to explain this. And now I can do it in 2 minutes. And I've got all the background information if I need to expand. Now I want to show you something very similar. And this is going to be the brief meeting prep card. It follows the same process. You can see the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But the whole concept behind this is that before you have a meeting, you have gone through that same concept and you've asked yourself the questions. You've said, what is the desired outcome that you want to achieve? What's the relationship that you have with your audience? Do you know these people that you're briefing, or is this an internal or external? Think about it. We've got to be careful to not use too many acronyms. And well, how do I want the audience to change? Maybe they're skeptical of using an online tool. And so maybe they feel a certain way, but how do I want them to feel afterwards? Do I want them to feel inspired? Do I want them to feel hopeful? What's the format of the meeting? And then what's the tone? All of these things can really, really help us to, one, make sure that when you're in the meeting, it's going to be productive, but two, just to show that I've taken the time and I've thought through this information. So this is really, really cool stuff. I love to use this even when we think about an email. And if you just go back to the brief. Background. Why are we here? Relevance. Why should they care? Information. What do they need to know? Ending. What's the bottom line? And follow up. What's next? You can literally take this, apply it tomorrow. Do you want to show you, they have these cool, like I said, you can order these online, and this is, it's pretty fun. You can like peel them off. So I really enjoy these. They also have, if you buy the product and the course, you can download fillable ones, which is cool too. Sometimes, hey, we're a little bit more digital. Do you want to show you 2 really good books? We have Brief and we have Noise. These both came, like I said, with the course, broken into very digestible pieces. And I really like it. Pretty pictures, really cool practical elements at let's say like at the end, they have TLDR in here. They've got summaries. So this is something that if you only have 15 minutes, pick it up, you will get a tool and then you can use it immediately. It really follows a lot of the curriculum that I took in the course. Brief is going to show you how to be able to capture attention quickly and be concise. They are all about clarity over confusion. Noise, on the other hand, is going to teach you how to cut through all those distractions. I think my favorite part is part 5. They've got some really good practical applications where you can implement immediately. And yeah, my favorite chapter title, herding cats. But this whole concept of how you can improve focus and just have that mental clarity to make sure you're good for a meeting or that your email is clean, that is really priceless. So what to expect if you actually take the course: you'll get an email ahead of time and they've got a process. You make a username, password, and then you'll actually take some coursework prior to you starting. Then you'll have the facilitated instruction that can be online, it can be in person, or sort of a blend, just depending on what your work style is. They offer the courses that are kind of broken down into the introduction and one for meetings and other elements. But of course, let's say you have the budget and you are looking for a blend, I would talk with them and just see what they could be able to do. And then you get a really great book, awesome pen, fidget spinner, all these little cues to kind of help you to stay focused and then be able to write. I really love that. This is not something where they're talking at you. You're going back and forth. You have to practice. You have to give the examples, and you're going to get to prep for a meeting, prep for a big idea, all of these elements that can be very, very useful. So I really want to warn you on a couple of things when it comes to making this transition as you get really, really good and you take this massive amount of information and you turn it into a 30-second or 1-minute brief. So first of all, if you are someone that speaks a whole lot, this will not occur overnight. It is a process and you will kind of feel, oh my gosh, I haven't explained the information enough. The Brief Lab calls this clarity anxiety, which I think is spot on. Almost as concept of the fear of being concise means you're incomplete. Big picture, typically brevity equals clarity. And really the whole concept is you have to practice this. You have to have that discipline. And I caught myself sometimes just not really thinking through a meeting that I was going to have or an email I was going to send because I just felt task saturated. And if you can slow down and just send one less email, but craft it, or have one less meeting, but be better prepared, you're going to save time in the long run and your people are going to have better clarity. The truth is that I'm always going to be a passionate person. I get really excited. That's kind of who I am. Think about it this way. Passion is beautiful, but clarity is powerful. And you can have both. So I want to encourage you, if you have felt, okay, I want to become a better communicator, just start with one thing. Go and look up one of these books or check out the podcast. I think episode 70 goes over meetings. So if you just want to have a better meeting this week, go from there. Or, spend $20 and sit there and go, I'm going to practice being brief. I'm going to try this. I'm super excited for you to try one of these strategies, and please drop in the comments something that you're going to try and hopefully just be a little bit more brief today.